933 or 572-0215. Rev-Up St. Lucia, the alpha of radio.
Rev-Up St. Lucia 95.9 FM presents a program that puts your mental well-being first. Mind Matters. Hosted by Dr. Julius Gilliard, St. Lucia's own psychiatrist, taking you inside the conversations that shape our mental health. From stress, relationships, and parenting to workplace balance, youth challenges, and mental disorders. Every Wednesday from 10 to 11 a.m., Dr. Gilliard brings expert insights, real stories, and practical tools you can use. Tune in for Mind Matters on Rev-Up St. Lucia, because at Rev-Up 95.9 FM, your mind matters.
Mind Matters with Dr. Julius Gilliard, brought to you with the compliments of Forsyth.
Mental health is the foundation of our well-being, yet too often it's overlooked. At Forsyth Mental Health Solutions, our team, led by a licensed psychiatrist, provides personalized assessments and treatments for depression, anxiety, psychosis, dementia, and more, bringing expertise, compassion, and solutions that make a real difference. We also provide forensic psychiatry assessments, mental capacity evaluations, and workplace training and seminars, giving organizations the tools to support employee mental wellness. For more information or to schedule a consultation, visit us at the Top-Ear Hospital, New Wing, Castries. Call 459-2234, send a WhatsApp message to 584-9498, or email us at forsych.mhs@gmail.com. That's forepsych.mhs@gmail.com. Our professional staff will be more than willing to assist you. Visit Forsyth Mental Health Solution and let us build a future where mental health is prioritized. Because when minds thrive, so do people.
It's now time for Mind Matters, hosted by Dr. Julius Gilliard. Dr. Gilliard, a very good morning to you. Always good to see you.
Thank you, Andre, and good morning to you.
Thank you. Good
and
morning.
to everyone listening, welcome to a special edition of Mind Matters. Today is November 19th, International Men's Day. And this year's global theme is celebrating men and boys. And today we have a special guest in the studio. His name is Andre Paul.
Otherwise known as guinea pig.
Yes. All right. Not guinea pig. I mean, you're a man, so you're here with me. Yes, so the theme, celebrating men and boys, it doesn't mean that we ignoring the challenges that men and boys face. It means honoring strength, and what we're doing that whilst acknowledging the struggle that a lot of men go through. And it makes creating spaces for boys and men easier, a space where they can finally say, I'm not okay, without shame. Because that's one of the things that prevents men and boys from saying that, or from saying those words. And they can say it without judgment as well, and without losing their dignity. Dignity is very important for a lot of men. Persons describe it as ego, but I see it as pride. And today we're going to talk about the mental health realities that shape the lives of men and boys, backed by research, of course, and psychological theories. So why does today matter? Because International Mental Health Day usually focuses on one of 6 pillars. And this year, the one that they focused on is to improve men's health, both mental, emotional, and physical and spiritual. So the WHO actually reports that men account for 75 to 80% of all suicide deaths globally, yearly.
Wow.
Yes. In other words, men are 4 times more likely to die from suicide than women. Yeah. Also, men are less likely to seek psychological help than women, and up to 50% less likely in some countries. Another statistic is that boys receive more disciplinary actions in school and are more frequently labeled as problematic, which affects their self-esteem, their identity formation, and I guess their entire lives. Now, if we look at more research from the APA, which is the American Psychological Association, what it shows that many men still feel restricted by what psychologists call traditional masculine norms. And I'm sure all of us in the Caribbean know about those. The expectation to always be strong, the expectation to always be confident, the expectation to always be in control, and never be emotionally vulnerable, especially that one. Yeah, and what that does is that it puts pressure on men that they don't really need, and it basically silences the men. So today what we're trying to do is to unsilence, especially Andre. now celebration, when we hear celebration, and when we hear the theme celebrating men and boys, we believe it's about saying hooray, hurrah to the men and boys in our life, but it's not that. It means telling the whole truth about men and boys. So a lot of men are resilient, but often very privately hurting. And I can tell you, it's a bad habit of mine. Wherever I go, I just look at somebody and I ask myself, what pain is this person hiding? So what mask is this person wearing in front of me or walking around? And it's something I do all day, every day. It's a bad habit, like I said.
You just do that out of curiosity?
Out of curiosity, yes.
Okay.
Just wondering what pain they may be holding. Now, studies in the Journal of Men's Health.
And I imagine you do that because you know that people are just generally going through some kind of pain.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think there's anybody on the face of this earth who does not have some form of difficulty in their lives.
Yes.
Yeah. So studies in the Journal of Men's Health show that many men cope through suppression, so pushing down emotions. Some overwork. Some use alcohol, and typical when you walk by the market. Some use anger, and I guess that's why our prisons are filled up. Some use withdrawal. Yeah? So not because they want to, but because that's what they were taught. So a lot of men, that's what was modeled for them growing up. And I'm sure if you walk by the market and ask all of those men under there, how many of you grew up in a household where one of your parents was alcoholic? The great majority of them will tell you that one or both of their parents were alcoholic or used other drugs. Now, boys also learn from very early that emotions are dangerous. And another study done at Harvard showed that by age 5, adults respond less supportively to boys expressing sadness or fear. Now imagine that. A child, 5 years, being told that fear or sadness is inappropriate. So by adolescence, boys have half the emotional vocabulary as girls do. By adulthood, many men actually confuse stress with anger. I'm sure you've heard young boys say that person's stressing me out, and so they lash out in anger. They how you say it? Confuse sadness with fatigue, and that is because no one taught them anything else. So today when we say celebrating men and boys, we are celebrating the endurance that they have to have gone through all of those, that molding into whatever society wants them to be, and not being able to express their true selves. And we're also challenging the silence that's causing that high suicide statistic, that men are 4 times more likely to die by suicide than women.
By the way, how many suicides, do you have any idea, across the globe every year? Any idea?
I know it is, at one point it was 1 suicide every 11 seconds or something like that. Yeah.
Wow. And 80% of those
are men. Men and boys, I suppose. Yeah. So a lot of persons are confused as to what men actually need, and men themselves are confused as to what they actually need, I guess because of what society has shoved down our throats. And what has been found is that men thrive in male friendship groups. But most men lose those by the time they're 30. Studies show that male loneliness actually peaks between age 35 and 60. How many men do you know who can tell you, I have a group of men that I can go to and speak honestly about how I feel?
How many men can say there's a group of people that they can go to speak with?
A group of other men that they can go to speak
I don't know of any.
Yeah. Do you have a group of men?
No, no.
Exactly. Yeah. So by that age, 35 to 60, a lot of men start to complain that they feel lonely. And that is why so many men then turn to women for that kind of, because people feel that the men just loose and out there, but a lot of men actually turn to women for a space where they can be heard. And that most of the times ends up in an intimate relationship. So there's more research that shows that adolescent boys actually want deep emotional friendships with other men or with other boys. And they would say stuff like, he's the only one I can be real with, that kind of thing. But by 16, most of those boys lose that openness due to the ridicule that comes when they approach other boys with those kinds of emotions. Because I think I read somewhere where the guy said, I think that book, Man Enough, by the guy in Jane the Virgin, where he says that men are other men's biggest policemen. So we tend to police other men and the things that they say, the way that they behave, because we believe that society says that men are supposed to be this way, so that's how every man is supposed to be. So what we have to keep in mind is that boys imitate what they see. So if boys are witnessing the men in their lives, especially their fathers, uncles, other teachers, who are talking openly about mental health, then they may be able to do the same. And I think that's one of the reasons that we're seeing an increase in the rates of men who are actually, or young boys or young men who are actually seeking mental health care, because they have started to witness their mentors and the older men speaking more about their mental health struggles, speaking more about the difficulties that they went through. I was actually reading an article recently which says that children learn quicker when they hear adults speaking about their mistakes. So if a parent goes home and says, I forgot my wallet home and I really had to struggle to get through the day, I couldn't buy lunch and I had to ask that person for lunch, and so on, and speaking about their mistakes and not lambasting themselves and so on, what the child learns to do is to problem solve. So the child, I think they did some imaging on the child's brain when he or she was listening to that kind of story. What they found is that the child's empathy centers light up first, and then afterwards the problem solving areas light up. So the child learns quicker how to problem solve and how to deal with certain life situations, because they then try to mimic what they're seeing in the adults. And that's why role models are important, positive role models rather are important. Now, when we look at purpose and identity, unemployment and underemployment and even role loss can actually trigger depression in men more intensely, because men are often socialized to equate self-worth with productivity. So men usually have a lot of difficulty not doing, that's what I call it with my patients. So they grow up doing and I have to do and be productive. And when men are not being productive, the emotional backlash from that can be very, very intense. So today we are celebrating men not by pretending everything is fine, but by naming what must heal. So Andre, a question from you.
From me?
To you rather.
Oh, okay.
When was the last time you felt overwhelmed and who did you tell?
The last time I felt overwhelmed. And that overwhelming you're talking about, is it a specific thing?
Yes, emotional overwhelm.
Well, when my brother died.
And who did you speak to candidly about what you felt about?
Well, there were people around. Okay? So I found myself talking about it. I don't know if that was supposed to be to help me deal with it. I don't know. But everybody was inquiring what had happened, and I had to repeat basically the same story. But in a sort of way, it kind of felt all right at the time. Yeah.
But were you focusing on how you felt, or you were just recounting the story?
Recounting the story, not necessarily how I was feeling.
Yes.
Yeah.
But who have you spoken to about the way that you felt?
Well, there were people around me, and I was kind of opening up, and saying how I was taking it. Right.
How you were taking it. All right. I'll not probe you further because it's not a therapy session. But
That's all right.
But Andre, what we have to keep in mind is how you dealt with your brother's death.
And by the way, I'm still dealing with it.
Exactly. How you are dealing with it, because I've been trying to get you into my office from day one, but your head tough.
No, Dr. Gillian, I get a free session every
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Every Wednesday.
So I should turn this into a session on national radio. But yes, Andre, so that's a lot. One of the difficulties that a lot of men face, because so many times I hear boys speak about, my father died when I was 16, or my father died suddenly when I was whatever age, and their father died. And what happens is that a lot of the times the family notice a change in the person's level of functioning, but they don't inquire into it. So they just tell themselves, he dealing with it differently, or he taking it rough, that kind of vocabulary. But they don't inquire into it further, or they don't ask the person whether they would like to speak to somebody about the way that they feel. Not just about what happened, but about the way that they feel. And what message that sends to the man is that you can tough it up, and you will get through this if you just tough it up and move on with your life. Because life, that's the theme, right? Life goes on. Yes, life goes on, but life can be easier while it goes on. If a man has somebody that they can debrief with, that's the word that person uses. I don't like that word because it has certain connotations in psychology. But there's something that we do called psychological first aid. I think I did it with your staff the time your brother died. But it's basically the first part of getting the person to help. So finding out how much the incident has affected them psychologically, and then getting them to the appropriate help if they need it, or letting them know what to expect, how they expect their mind to what can be expected of their mind as time goes on, and what red flags they can look out for in case things get worse. So a lot of men don't have that kind of support, and so a lot of men are hurting and keeping themselves silent because they feel a lot of shame about the way that they feel, and that is because when they were growing up they were told sadness and crying and all of those things.
But what about? I'm sorry. What about the other side of that coin, Dr. Gilead? If that's what you were taught as a young man, okay, a young boy or whatever, that you've got to be this and that and the other. Remember, that message is also going out to other people as well, right? So when you now, when I say you, the person now who's going through a rough time, you're going to be talking to the same people who heard the same thing, that you have to be tough. So when you go to those people now, you can't get the empathy that you're looking for, because they already, as you said, you already taught that's the way it's supposed to be. And that teaching was not only for males, it was also for females. So if you sometimes go to a female, right, you get the same reaction, that you are supposed to be tough, you're supposed to be strong.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Andre. The issue we're having is that it's about finding somebody who you can go to who will not judge you in that way. And that is the difficulty that we're facing now. And this is one of the reasons that I was pushed into starting this program, because I'm trying to get persons to see mental health from a different standpoint, not just that you go into a therapist or you go into a psychiatrist or you go into a mental health professional, but how can we as human beings support each other without judgment, without trying to fix each other.
You say now you're trying to change that.
The mindset, yes.
Mindset.
Yes.
Right.
And I'm sure even you, just from being a part of this program, have learned a lot about how to be there for somebody in a different way than you probably were used to be doing before. Yeah. So we have to as a society, learn different ways of listening. That's very important, because that's the difficulty we have. We don't listen. We hear, and as soon as we hear the person, certain signals come to our brain, and we feel we have to fix. Yeah. So what can I do to fix this? And with men especially, that is important, because men tend to have a propensity to want to fix. So some people call it the hero syndrome. So, and a lot of men, that is why they get into intimate relationships with women, because if you have to look at that relationship, most of those relationships are with a lady who is going through some difficulty. Man comes into her life. Man plays the hero, saves her from everything. They get into a relationship, then ends badly, because then the man feels that the woman owes him something for saving her, or if he has another relationship, then the other relationship finds out. So it doesn't end well in most cases. Yeah. So the man's propensity to fix is one of the things that as a society we need to look at.
And you even hear it from the females. You'll hear females saying, "Oh, I love it when a man can fix this and fix that and fix the other." You hear them saying it.
Yeah.
So now when we hear that, oh boy, well, I have to be a jack of all trades.
Yeah. And I mean, Andre, not all women are like that. I think the women who are socialized that way are women who themselves have their issues dealing with. It always saddens me when I hear women talking about men needing to take care of them, or men needing to fix their problems, or to give them this or to give them that, because it just plays into the narrative and keeps men subdued, or subdues their emotions, and so the men have a lot of difficulty expressing what they truly feel, because they have to always be fixing. They always have to be giving out. And if we have to look at even the program that you just had a while ago, the focus was on growth. And I heard one caller speaking about guilt and resentment. And a lot of the men have difficulty saying no to fixing, because it's like a knee-jerk reaction for them. And it usually ends up in resentment in those relationships, because eventually they can't give anymore, because the other person keeps wanting. And when they try to pull back, there's a big blowout, and then a lot of bad blood and so on created from that. So the propensity to fix is something that men need to start looking at. So, Andre, back to you.
So how do you know when to stop fixing?
Yeah,
How do you know?
It's
Because
just to stop. Your job as a man is not to fix anybody.
No, I'm talking about fix the situation. You it's the weekend. You're at home, and you've had a long, hard week, and you're looking forward to some rest and relaxation. And all of a sudden now, the tank of gas is finished, for example. It's empty. And you're really not in the mood to leave the house and to go look, because that's what's expected of you. Oh, what do you do? Because it's expected of you.
But Andre, you're talking about something different. So it's your tank of gas that you go to fill. So you...
But remember, I'm tired.
Yeah, so you're
I'm exhausted.
So
I'm stressed out.
What's the option here? You lie down in the bed and continue to feel tired. Then afterwards you get hungry because you can't cook. And then you feel more stressed out because you're now hungry and you can't cook.
So when do you stop when do you stop being Mr. Fixer? At what point?
But that's you fixing stuff for yourself. But what we're focusing on is fixing stuff for other people.
They could have the other people. There's a family there.
There's a family. So then maybe the family can have a conversation around what is happening. Because if the husband has difficulty saying, if you have difficulty telling your wife, "Hey, I'm tired, I had a long day, I'm feeling very, very stressed. Can somebody assist me with going and get the gas?" Then that says that in that relationship there is something going on that prevents the man from expressing himself as openly as he needs to.
No, it's just that he feels it goes back to what you said earlier. That's my
yes.
I'm Mr. Fixer.
Yes. So exactly. So then he has that shows that there is difficulty.
By the way, are you ready to take any calls?
Yeah, I surely.
Okay, let me just give the number. I know you're gonna get back to me. So
Trying to run.
I know you're not going to
Trying
forget.
everything to run.
No, I'm reminding you. Let me get the numbers. The fixed line is 5729710, 5729710, or the WhatsApp platform it is 287-0971. WhatsApp is 287-0971. Again, the fixed line 572-9710 or WhatsApp 287-0971. And you know, Dr. Gillard, there is a God because there is somebody in the line.
Let me put on my headphones because. Good morning, caller. Thanks for calling the program. Thanks for saving Andre.
Good morning, Dr. Gillard.
Thanks for saving Andre.
Good morning.
Okay. Happy International Men's Day
Same to you, sir.
to you, Andre, and to all men who are listening.
Dr. Gillard, same to you.
And Dr. Gillian. Yeah. Thanks for accepting my call, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Dr. Gillian, you know that if a man and a woman has, and a man and a woman have the same problem, you know, as a man, you'll quicker fix the woman problem before the man,
Yeah.
That's
Definitely.
in us.
Yeah.
Okay. That's in us. That's in us men.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we are.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Can you explain? I don't quite understand what you're saying. Can you explain?
Totally what he's saying.
Well, yeah, I'm not Dr. Gilliard, so explain. What do you mean?
And Andre, let me tell you. If you have a son and you have two daughters, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If I can call the name. If Naomi and your boy
Asani?
have the same problem, Andre.
Mm-hmm.
Andre, you'll quicker go to Naomi before Asani.
Now I get you.
Although both of them have the same problem.
Now I get you. Good
Yeah.
point. That's true.
Yeah, that's now, Dr. Gillian. I believe I'm talking today's International Men's Day. I believe we are not doing enough for our men. Yeah, because let me tell you, you have been hearing because women, cancer, especially cancer. You find more women have cancer than men. The breast cancer, the cervical cancer, you get this in women, and you keep on hearing scientists, doctors coming out about the researching this, researching that to get a cure, to do this for the women. You're not hearing much about that for men, you know. Of late, you are hearing like they're trying to do something for prostate because they're finding more men with prostate cancer now. But the amount of effort that is being made, to find a cure, to find a medicine for women with those cancers, with cancer on the whole. You're not hearing that much about men. I don't know why. And
Yeah.
I'm saying that to say, Doc, this illness where people shaking,
Parkinson.
Is this a mental disorder?
Well, it's a neurological disorder. So it's
Okay, and I don't know, but women have this thing, can have this.
yeah, either men or women can have it, but it's more prevalent in men.
Okay, now as I end up, let me ask you a question there. That shaking disorder, if a man, let's say, is using, like he doesn't know he has that disease, but he doesn't know he has this symptom of that disease, and he is working like in a compressor or excavator where he has this equipment always shaking him, and if he has symptom of this, can this, aggravate that or whatever? I don't know what used.
Well, I won't say it'll be aggravated, but I guess it will affect the way that he works, because the shaking can affect the way that he moves the machinery.
If you have the symptom, but you're not shaking yet. But by working with a compressor or an equipment like an excavator, where an excavator has what you call a hammer, where you understand what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know if you.
mean. But
All right, like a compressor, you have a jackhammer using that's shaking you.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And you have the symptom of that, but you don't know you have it. can this bring this Parkinson to the fore?
I don't know that that working machinery of that nature can bring it to the fore. I believe one of the things we have to look at is the kind of safety equipment that the person uses. So whether the person uses adequate earmuffs and so on, because noise can affect.
Because Dr. Gilead, once you are using a jackhammer, because you have a compressor there and you have a jackhammer using and that's shaking your whole body. You must use that. Or sometimes they have a thing you call it a jumping jack. You have to hold that thing.
Yeah.
This is something I really want somebody to tell me about that. Whether if you have a symptom of Parkinson disease, if by using those equipment can bring it to the fore. I want somebody to answer this one, please.
Yeah, I do. Like I said, I don't know that.
Thank you. I'll listen on the radio.
Yes,
thanks for calling as always.
Yeah, thanks for calling. I don't know that jackhammers can bring on symptoms of Parkinson or can worsen them. What you have to keep in mind is that one of the things, and keeping on topic here, is that the majority of persons who use those kinds of equipment are men. In fact, I don't know any woman who can use a jackhammer, at least not in St. Lucia. So men are the ones who would be most affected by the prolonged use of equipment like that. And like I said, I'm not familiar with the results or what they can cause. But yes, just keeping in mind that mostly men use it.
Let's just take a little break. Dr. Gilead. This is Mind Matters with Dr. Julius Gilead, live on Rev-Up St. Lucia, brought to you with the compliments of Forsyth.
Mental health is the foundation of our well-being, yet too often it's overlooked. At Forsyth Mental Health Solutions, our team, led by a licensed psychiatrist, provides personalized assessments and treatments for depression, anxiety, psychosis, dementia, and more, bringing expertise, compassion, and solutions that make a real difference. We also provide forensic psychiatry assessments, mental capacity evaluations, and workplace training and seminars, giving organizations the tools to support employee mental wellness. For more information or to schedule a consultation, visit us at the Top-of-Your Hospital, New Wing, Castries. Call 459-2234, send a WhatsApp message to 584-9498, or email us at forsych.mhs@gmail.com. That's forepsych.mhs@gmail.com. Our professional staff will be more than willing to assist you. Visit Forsyth Mental Health Solution and let us build a future where mental health is prioritized. Because when minds thrive, so do people.
This is Mind Matters, live on Rev-Up St. Lucia with Dr. Julius Gilead. Dr. Gilead, back to you.
Yes, Andre. So today we celebrate. We celebrate men who show up for their families when they feel tired, men who are trying to break generational cycles, men who grew up without fathers but are determined to be present fathers. And I encounter that a lot. So young men who are doing their best to be present for their children, although they had no father who was present. And I guess
you can say biological father.
Yes,
because sometimes you have a stepfather.
Stepfather, yes. And I am one of those men as well.
So am I.
So men who battle depression silently yet still get out of bed. Men who have been told that they are only worth something if they are strong. And finally learning that strength also means softness, also means honesty and asking for help. So there's research that has shown that actually acknowledging strengths while seeking help improves men's mental health outcomes dramatically. So celebration is not just praise, it's actually giving men permission to be human, because a lot of men have that difficulty. And I remember a couple of men in my practice, when I'm teaching them self-compassion, I have to ask them, "You're human, right?" And some would like, "Yeah," because it's difficult because persons don't see them being hard on themselves as not being human. But it's difficult because society is so hard on us men. We now have to be hard on ourselves, because we have to now try to push ourselves through any difficulties that we're having any emotions that come up, we have to push them down and tell ourselves, you should not be feeling that. And it's not fair to us as men. It's not fair to society. It's not fair to our families and friends. So Andre, even the role of fatherhood, just to ask you, what role has fatherhood played in shaping who you are as a man today?
Well, as I was just saying, I didn't have my biological father in my life, and that was a disappointment to me, because most of the families we grew up with were nuclear families. That means you had mother, father, everybody there. And I remember there was something that was said to us from my family, because my mother had 4 of us, and the 4 of us had different fathers. And that's one of the things that our friends would say to us. Things like, your mother, had 4 men, and this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that was rough. So you're kind of always longing to have this person in your life, because you see it. You go to their homes, you see them there, the father is there, mother is there, everybody looks like they're having a nice well manicured family, manicured life. It looks that way. So you kind of long for that. But I never had it. It's my step grandfather that was the male figure in my life, and he wasn't the best, because of course, at that time the authoritarian sort of approach. So I was always longing to have that father. So then I tried reaching out to him. But he wasn't interested at the time. He just wasn't interested. So I just decided now that I will not put my children for that sort of thing, because the pain of that was really, really, really tough to take. When you're trying to reach out and you see you being rejected, that's how it felt to me at the time. So I just promised myself that I would never be that way with my children. Okay, and I kept that promise.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing that, Andre. Very deep share there, and it shows the courage that you are developing and how you're expressing yourself as a man. And I wish all men could do like you, because growing up with that kind of pain, although you can't express it as candidly as you just did, I'm sure just being able to do that, I'm sure what you felt inside, I saw you clenching your hands and so on, I'm sure it was difficult for you. Now you see, I notice everything. So Andre,
I would like to be the girlfriend in your life,
No, my partner is used to me, and I don't therapize her. When we're in a space like this, or in my office,
you let her off the hook.
Then I notice everything. Yes, I let her off the hook. At times she's not upset that I let her off the hook, because she at times wants to run stuff by me to get my therapeutic, and I told her, no, I'm not your therapist. She sometimes is not happy with that, but yeah, we are we.
All right.
So
yes.
So Andre, that is a similar story to many of the men in St. Lucia.
I think you said you had a similar experience.
So I had a similar experience. The difference with my experience is that although my father was absent, I did have a stepfather. My mom had all 3 of us. Well, 2
So
of
where
us.
was he? Where was your father?
Well, he disappeared when my mom was pregnant with me. So it was something, I never really knew him.
And Dr. Gilead, isn't that really sad? See, these things happen to us. I mean, in my case, 60-something years ago, and you still have that same issue up to today.
Exactly. And what I find as well is that a lot of the men who hate their father, I don't advise anybody to hate their father, because when you hate your father, you tend to actually repeat a lot of his behaviors. And persons may not recognize it, but I see persons who find themselves womanizing or drinking alcohol or saying certain things about themselves, and then I ask them, whose voice does that remind you of? And then when we go deep into it, we realize, hey, that's the kind of things I used to hear my father say, or I used to hear people say that my father used to say, or that's the kind of things my father used to do. And what they're doing is basically subconsciously taking on his behaviors and living their lives just like him, but saying that they're not. So I'm doing my best not to live like him, and that's why words are important. So when I tell myself I'm doing my best not to be like my father, I'm actually bringing that into my system. Why not say instead, I'm doing my best to be myself? Yes. So I'm doing my best to be myself and to be the best version of myself for my child or for my son, if it's a son. And what that does is that you bring yourself into the present and not a version of your father that you don't want to be. You understand? So, and also when we try to not raise our children like us, then we're actually raising ourselves again. We're not raising our children. So to be present, really present for our children, especially boys, we have to move away from all of those narratives about not trying to be like. We have to be ourselves. We have to listen to what our children are telling us, be as authoritative as possible with our children, and give them the best version of ourselves that we can give them.
And that is why a program like this is so important, Dr. Gilead. So now we can start changing the mindset.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, those words that you spoke about,
Definitely.
a lot of us speak that way.
Definitely.
But now that we're hearing something different, hopefully that our listeners, especially our men, or maybe I imagine women as well, could change that way of thinking and speaking.
Yeah, and if we have to touch on women for a while, for a little moment, Andre, what I find is that women really at times run with that narrative of how men need to be, especially for them. Because I guess they gain a lot of women gain a lot from men being strong and providers and that kind of thing.
But that's the point I was making earlier, that remember, the same thing that was being told to the males, even if it wasn't said to the females, they hear it. And they say, oh, okay, that's the way it works.
Yeah. And in addition to that, a lot of women actually do take on those characteristics themselves, especially I find women who are in positions of power. So they tend to take on that I have to be strong mentality. I have to be a provider. I have to show up in a way that person sees me as this higher level person. And I mean, digging deeper into
That's
those.
true what you're saying, Dr. Gilead, because remember we've had a few leaders on the world stage who are females, and they call them Iron Lady.
Exactly. I remember even the one in Dominica. Yes.
England.
Yes. So those ladies actually espousing masculine
traits.
Yeah, but more than masculine traits, but masculine narcissistic traits. Yeah, because it has to be all about them. Everything has to be about them. The focus has to be on them, and it's not healthy because, again, it's somebody pushing down their real emotions, and putting forward a mask or putting on a mask for what they believe persons need to experience from them. And if we have to go back to what I spoke about in previous episodes about the fight or flight response, that's basically the person living in survival mode. And survival mode is basically every day your body just churning out cortisol, which is a stress hormone, which eventually has its effects on the body and the brain. So those persons later on in life, they may just find themselves developing some weird illness that nobody knows where it came from, or they may find themselves developing different mindsets or psychological issues that persons are wondering what's happening, and people then come up with the thing about something they do them, that kind of attitude. So it's not healthy to actually wear that mask every day. Showing up authentically is strength. Showing, being or feeling or letting persons know that you feel weak, that you don't feel strong today, that you don't feel fine, that is absolutely fine. That is actually where the strength lies. And a lot of our families can do better by normalizing even boys crying and expressing fear by celebrating the effort of the boys and not just the toughness. So not just celebrating boys who beat away a bully or who do other things to show toughness.
Let me share something with you. At my brother's funeral, I felt so overwhelmed that I was crying. I tried my best to control it because that's what I normally do. I tried my best, but I just couldn't help it. So I just broke down right there and then. An interesting thing, my son Hassani, he was there. And after the funeral, we were having lunch, and he said to me, "Dad, that's the first time I've ever seen you cry since I was born." And it's true.
Yeah.
He's never seen me cry.
So what does that suggest? To me, it suggests that your son has had a longing to see you or to experience the vulnerable side of you. That was the first time he experienced it.
And he said that when he saw me crying, he had to cry as well because he had never seen me cry before.
It was a shock for him. Yeah. So even if we have to look at the schools, a lot of schools actually label boys as disruptive without even understanding their needs, and I see that all the time in my practice. A school would just send a boy to see a psychiatrist because the boy is disruptive. And when you dig deep, it's a child who is going through so much difficulty at home, maybe lots of self-esteem issues, feeling unloved, feeling unwanted, and then the child becomes disruptive at school. One of the things that persons don't realize is that depression in children, one of the more telltale symptoms is aggression or angry outbursts. Yeah? So why aren't the schools teaching emotional literacy? Because we teach math, we teach science, but what serves the men and boys later on in life is the ability to recognize their emotions and the emotions of others, and the ability to be able to navigate those. But we're not teaching any of that in school, or if it is being taught, then it's at a minimal level. So another aspect of our society is our religious communities. We have a lot of teaching in religion that focuses on shame. Yeah, so sin is seen with a lot of shame and punishment, and we don't have compassion for persons who live their lives a certain way, but we don't have understanding of why the person lives their lives that certain way. So we shy away from vulnerability, and we believe that persons have to be stoic, have to be upright, have to be righteous, and those kind of things. But what's about the real person underneath all of that? The real person who's hurting. We don't reach out to them. So even men themselves need to build small circles where honesty is allowed, and there's something I espouse to, and I call it a bubble. So every man needs to have a bubble of one or two friends where he can feel safe. So it's a safety bubble where he can feel safe to express himself honestly without being shamed, without being judged. Yeah? And it's not just him, but everybody in that bubble can do the same. So when will men start to learn how to create that kind of space for each other? Why focus on let's go out and drink and check girls and live life recklessly when you're hurting inside? So meet with your friends, let them know that, hey, I want for the 2 or 3 of us to have this group. We can meet every whatever day or every whatever month, and we just sit and express what is happening in our lives. This is a non-judgmental space. Yeah, and if judgment comes up, how can we deal with it? If somebody then goes out and tells somebody else down, blah, 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 how can we deal with that? And so everybody has that. If as many men as possible have that kind of space, what will society be like?
Well, let me ask you something, Dr. Gilead. What about those men who get together, okay, and to socialize, and the alcohol is included in part of the socializing, but they get an opportunity to vibe with each other. They get an opportunity to, as you said, unwind and debrief and so on with their male friends. However, the alcohol is part of it. So isn't that a healthy thing to do?
It can be healthy, but then what role does the alcohol play in that? Why the need for alcohol?
Why not?
But yeah, so why not? Because it is not healthy. alcohol use is not healthy, and I mean that is a known fact. So what we have to ask now is why the need for alcohol. So what is happening? Does the person have a difficulty expressing themselves? That they feel if they use alcohol, they can express themselves more freely, because alcohol causes disinhibition. Yeah, and if the person does have that difficulty expressing and needs to use alcohol, then that can be one of the things that is focused on in the group where they vibe. So why do we need to use alcohol when we vibe? It's not necessary.
But it's all part of socializing, especially in our country, our culture. It's all part of socializing.
Unfortunately. And so Andre, just even reflecting on you again, if you have to look at yourself as a man, what would you say is the part of being a man that you're most proud of in yourself?
Oh, my children. Yeah, the fact that I was there for them. I feel really proud about that part of my life.
I like how your whole energy changed when you said that. Wow. So you're a very passionate father.
Yes, I feel proud that I was, in fact, I'm still there for them. I feel proud about that. Yeah, so that's my greatest accomplishment.
Was there any positive role model that may have influenced the way that you fathered?
There's somebody on the line.
Yes. Okay.
Can I take the call?
Good morning, caller. Thanks for calling.
Hey, good morning, Dr. Gilead. I'm Andre.
Yes, you're back. Thanks for calling again.
Thanks for accepting my call.
You're welcome.
Dr. Gilead, today is International Men's Day.
Yes.
Yeah. Dr. Gilead, in your profession, when you hear a man said he doesn't want his woman to work for anybody, is it that he's insecure?
Yeah, very likely.
Or
very likely.
He just very, very likely.
Yes.
So you can say about 90% is because of that?
I can say that, yes.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's something that actually comes up a lot. I hear women saying, the man don't want me to work. And it's because of insecurity. The man believes that not just insecurity, but then pride as well. So I am the man and I'm supposed to be bringing in the money, and there's no need for you to work.
It goes back to what we keep saying.
Yes.
This is how we're
socialized. Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Control. It's the way we're supposed to be the producers and so on, and people are supposed to be depending on us.
Now, Andre, back to your question about role models. So what role model may have attributed to the way that you father your children?
A role model, I guess the honest answer to that would be my delinquent father. While he wasn't a positive influence on my life, what he did, right, caused me now to
do the opposite.
So, because I can't really think of anybody who was really impacting my life in that way at the time. I can't think of anyone. Maybe there was.
Not even one of your siblings or an uncle or nobody like that?
No. I can't think of anybody.
Or somebody you worked with, or anybody?
I said maybe there was, but I can't recall at all.
Yeah.
But as I said, I just know that what I saw as a male figure, father figure, I didn't like it.
Yeah. And it's sad, Andre, because a lot of households, just like the one that you grew up in, a lot of the men would say that when I saw that one's father bringing for him, I felt left out, because that one's father would only bring for him, and that one other father would bring for him. So I felt like nobody cared for me, and so on. So that's the kind of stories that a lot of men with a lot of pain grew up in. I remember seeing a guy.
The other side of that, Dr. Gilead. Keep your thought. Where you have, like in my family, there was none of the fathers. Imagine that. We had 4 different fathers, and for the most part, they were all the same.
Wow.
So there was no saying like, oh, I see my brother's father around, my sister's father around. That didn't happen.
So all of you were hurting the same way.
Oh, for sure.
And I guess, like you said, when you go to school or other functions, seeing other fathers present for their children would hurt even more. Yeah.
And you have our young friends who didn't know better.
Yeah.
They just so I understand now. They didn't know better, and they would say things that would make you feel worse.
Yeah, but it doesn't change the fact that it did hurt.
Yes, that's for sure.
Even saying that they didn't know better doesn't change that it
yeah, that's for sure. And I remember doing something like really, really foolish, because they said those things. I wanted to get back. So I would when I say lash out, I would say something or some things that were just mean, right? Because I want them to feel. So I would either, if they do something stupid, I would laugh out loud, laugh at them. That's my way of getting back. But I said, now I understand what was going on. They didn't know any better.
Yeah, and even you should understand your response as well, because you were trying to defend yourself. Yeah. So Andre, I mean, we get coming to a close. So as we do, I want every man listening to remember, you are worthy of care. You're allowed to feel. You're allowed to ask for help. You're allowed to cry. You're allowed to heal. So celebrating men is not about pride. It's about elevating each other as men. It's about lifting men to the versions of themselves they've never been allowed to experience, like you have become, Andre, to your children. So to all the men and boys across St. Lucia and around the world, happy International Men's Day. I really see the men and the struggles that they experience. I celebrate all men, and I am committed to supporting your mental health together with Andre at Rev-Up today and always.
So same to you, Dr. Gilead. Happy International Men's Day to you. And again, I just want to thank you for having the courage to come, to Rev-Up, to share all your knowledge, and to see how you can help make a change in the way we are cultured, the way we are taught, the way we are told, right? And I want to support you, and I'm right here with you. I know you're holding my hands, and I'm holding yours as well. Let's hope that other men can just can come in and put their hands with us as well.
Yes,
let's hope so.
Thank you for showing up today as you did. Very courageous.
I didn't have a choice.
You didn't have a choice, he says. You always have a choice.
Okay, Dr. Gilead, again, thank you very much for your service.
Yeah,
thank you. Okay, you've been listening to and viewing Mind Matters with Dr. Julius Gilead, only on Rev-Up St. Lucia every Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And the program is brought to you with the compliments of Forsyth.
Mental health is the foundation of our well-being, yet too often it's overlooked. At Forsyth Mental Health Solutions, our team, led by a licensed psychiatrist, provides personalized assessments and treatments for depression, anxiety, psychosis, dementia, and more, bringing expertise, compassion, and solutions that make a real difference. We also provide forensic psychiatry assessments, mental capacity evaluations, and workplace training and seminars, giving organizations the tools to support employee mental wellness. For more information or to schedule a consultation, visit us at the Top-of-Your Hospital, New Wing, Castries. Call 459-2234, send a WhatsApp message to 584-9498, or email us at forsych.mhs@gmail.com. That's forepsych.mhs@gmail.com. Our professional staff will be more than willing to assist you. Visit Forsyth Mental Health Solution and let us build a future where mental health is prioritized. Because when minds thrive, so do people.
Rev-Up St. Lucia 95.9 FM presents a program that puts your mental well-being first. Mind Matters,